The Father has revealed to us today that there is a division in the purposes that I have. There is no point of agreement between light and darkness. I, the light, have beckoned you to come closer to me in order to bring you closer. It is inevitable that certain things, individuals, and circumstances will be omitted. Everything should be held loosely. Lot would not have traveled with Abraham or found himself in Sodom if Abraham had grasped this from the beginning. Those who are in your immediate vicinity are in the greatest danger when they act in a manner that is contrary to and in opposition to my will for your life. Hear the sound of my voice. It is important that you make your commitment to me your first fidelity, even if doing so causes you to withdraw from relationships that are already compromised. You have expressed a need for further clarity and assurance, and I assure you that it will be sent to you as soon as you respond and align yourself with what I have already made clear and definite. There will be no further progress made until the present assignments have been completed in their entirety. If you are willing to yield in word, deed, and action to my directions, then a significant portion of what you are seeking from me is already within your grasp and will be granted to you. The Father says, "Do not be afraid. I am aware of what it is that you require." It is impossible for there to be a single cry from your heart that has not encircled my heart and pulled the strings of my compassion. Continue on. Move forward with confidence and trust, and the outcome will be made certain not only for you but also for those who are in your immediate vicinity. This day, the Father instructs His children to maintain a solid stance, because the foundation that lies beneath them is not shifting sands but rather the bedrock of my word. I am the God who sculpts success into the fabric of your life, who takes the threads of victory and weave them into the fabric of your story. Keep your eyes off the storm clouds that are building on the horizon, because my sun shines brightest amidst the storm that you are experiencing. Make sure you don't forget that you carry me within you. Take a deep breath in and feel the steady rhythm of my faithfulness pulsating through your ribcage as you inhale my presence. I am your castle that resides within you, your unflinching compass, and the very breath that moves through your lungs. In light of this, how could you lose? As a result of the fact that I, who am unconquerable, exist within you, your triumph is already predetermined. What other people see to be risk, I consider to be faith. This bridge is not constructed out of shaky wood, but rather out of the unbreakable steel that is comprised of my promises. Do not worry about falling down the edge of the cliff, because I am waiting for you at the opposite end of the precipice with my arms held out. It is not into the abyss that you are contemplating taking this leap, rather, it is onto the launch pad of my mission. You should have trust in the rumblings of faith that I stoke within your heart and the fantasies that I paint across your soul. These things are not illusions, rather, they are blueprints for your future. My dear child, the breakthrough is not some far-off mirage, but rather the glittering oasis that lies just beyond your horizon. Every single tear that you have shed has rehydrated the dry earth, and every single uncertainty that you have struggled with has made the way clearer. Because the sun of my favor is rising, it is casting long shadows of success for you in the future. When you look up, you see the first tendrils of your triumph reaching for the heavens, and you smell the beautiful aroma of victory floating on the wind. The voices of doubt that are eating away at your self-assurance should not be listened to. They are nothing more than specks of dust that fly around in the bright ray of my grace. Do not focus on the terrifying drop that is adjacent to the mountain that you are climbing. Keep your sight set on the prize, the laurels of victory that are just waiting to be placed on your forehead. It is important to keep in mind that the power that motivates you to climb is not your own strength, but rather the power that I ignite inside you. Child, this is not the end, rather, it is the beginning with this. You are being shaped into a more resilient person, your spirit is being tempered, and you are being prepared for the wonderful tapestry that is your life through the furnace of this moment. Although it may appear that the threads of difficulty are coarse, have faith in the master weaver. In order to build a masterpiece that is deserving of both heaven and earth, I utilize a combination of darkness and light, struggle and triumph. Child, you must keep going. Take off with the breeze of my spirit blowing behind you. Let my promises to serve as your guide, and let my love serve as your defense. It is not the dance of chance that you are afraid of, rather, it is the procession of victory that I have orchestrated for you. Take a step into the light, throw yourself into the unknown, and know that I will be there for you every step of the way. In this day and age, the Father reminds his children that genuine generosity is not limited by any bounds. With the tithe, the Israelites had a beginning point and a pattern to follow, but I extend my hand not for a portion of what your heart desires to contribute, but for the entirety of what it is that your heart desires to offer. Donate not out of a sense of obligation, but rather from a wellspring that is overflowing inside you. Allow your generosity to blossom without your permission, as it is a natural consequence of my love flowing through your veins. You look for time, love, and provision, and just as seeds planted in healthy ground produce their own fruit, so does each offering that the seeds produce. As you invest time into the lives of other people, you will be present in their pleasures and tribulations, and you will see the blossoming of connections, the scent of which is more pleasurable than any worldly reward. Invest love in hearts that are parched by loneliness, be a balm to their wounds, and witness a tapestry of kindness being spun, which will connect you all together in a web of shared care. You will find that abundance will find its way back to you in unexpected ways, a crop of fulfillment that was produced from your own giving. If you offer what you desire and allow your compassion to be a beacon in the darkness, then you will find that abundance. Children, please do not misinterpret me. There is no wrongdoing in anticipating a return on the money you have invested. In the same way that farmers plant seeds with the expectation of a plentiful harvest, you may also be generous with an open perspective. Be conscious of the fact that what you give up is not only lost, rather, it is changed, multiplied, and returned to you in ways that are not visible yet are of incalculable value. Every act of kindness has a ripple effect, changing the lives of people you have never met before. The blessing you bring into the world eventually makes its way back to you, enhancing your soul and fortifying your faith even further. To answer your question, yes, you are a spiritual farm or parcel of land, my child. While your acts are the seeds that are planted, your faith is the fruitful ground. Make an informed selection about what you grow, because the harvest will be a reflection of your choices. Plant the seeds of uncertainty and apprehension, and you will be rewarded with a sour harvest of worries. However, if you sow the seeds of love, generosity, and trust in your life, you will experience a plethora of joy pouring into your life. You should also keep in mind that the harvest is not only for you. Your generosity is a cornerstone in the construction of a better future for everyone, and you are a part of a great kingdom of people. For the sake of the missionaries, the shelters, and the hungry mouths, please do not be reluctant to provide financial support to the efforts put forth by my love. Each and every effort, regardless of how insignificant it may seem, contributes another stone to the structure of compassion, another brick on the path that leads to a world that is illuminated by the grace of God. Please do not hold back, my child, give without hesitation. Your response time to me is a measurement of the amount of time I spend responding to you. Offer your time, your love, and your provision. We give not with the expectation of receiving something back right away, but with trust in the harvest that is yet to come. You are an extension of my love in this world, and you should give because you are mine. Giving is a privilege, a sacred act of contact with your Father, and you should give because of this. Additionally, through your generosity, you will discover the actual riches of my kingdom, a wealth that is not measured in monetary value but rather in the limitless fullness of my love. Now is the time to go, my child, and to be a life giver. Your generosity should be allowed to paint the world with brilliant colors of kindness, and you should be able to watch the marvels that occur when your donations blossom into a legacy of love. This is your life's work, your reason for being, and your inheritance. You should walk through it with delight, and you should be aware that the greatest gift of all is the love of your Father, which is unlimited, which you receive when you give. At this moment, the Father instructs us to mark the perfect man, for it is at the conclusion of that man that peace will be found. Mark the unwavering individual who has endured the storm and who stands amidst the debris without showing any sign of weakness. Is it possible that I have not marked you in the same way that I marked Noah in the vast expanse of floodwaters? Have I failed to remember you, even as I have remembered the few people who are righteous in the middle of a world that has gone wrong? You have observed the churning waves of uncertainty, as well as the horizon that is veiled by doubts, and you have pondered the harbor that is waiting for you. But take a look around you, youngster. Is it true that you are still present here? I am still alive, I am still powerful, and I am still a living testimony to my everlasting grace. Allow the worries of tomorrow to fade away like the tide. Do not waste your energies on fights that you have not yet seen. You should direct your attention, your sight, and your own being on me. Whenever you get closer, my shield of protection will begin to come into play. That my wind is already stirring and whispering through the trees of your life is something that you should not think about. It is a wind that is not of a storm but of deliverance, a gentle current that pushes back the flood of dread, hardship, and everything else that threatens to drown your spirit. The storms that are raging inside of you will be calmed by this breeze, and you will find yourself standing on solid ground, with the echoes of the struggle fading away behind you. The promise that I have made to this kid is written in the skies, just like the stars themselves. Take note of it, for it will serve as your compass even in the most difficult of times. Anticipate my wind. The caress of my grace, the constant current of my kindness, and the strong winds of my strength that will scatter your foes like dust before the sunlight are all things that you should anticipate. You will not be subjected to any shadow that my light is unable to penetrate. No wave will come up against you that I will not be able to soothe with my hand. Recall the moment when Noah stepped out into the sun-drenched earth, the ark serving as a quiet monument to the storm that he had succeeded in overcoming. The same thing will happen to you, child. As you emerge from the crucible, you will not be ruined but polished, not lessened but strengthened. You will be a beacon of my love in a world that is starving for hope. Therefore, let yourself to be carried by the wind. Allow yourself to be lifted above the din and the skepticism by it. Please allow it to whisper my promise to you. You are loved, you are remembered, and you are marked. It is in that love that you will come out victorious each and every time. The survivor should then go forth. Be the testimony of my unshakable hand as you go forth into the world. You are the kid of the storm, and the storm has yielded to you. Stroll with your head held high, for you are the child of the storm. In the present day, the Father believes that the elements of warfare that are unavoidable are confusion and resistance. Do not give in to the temptation of supposing, in the midst of disagreement, that you have deviated from the road that I have outlined for you. I have not left you in the dark about the trickery that Satan plays. In no uncertain terms, the smoke and mirrors that he employs in order to exaggerate his own significance are, in fact, nothing more than illusions. There is a specific reason why your adversary is referred to as the enemy in the scriptures. Despite the fact that he is crafty and understated, you will always be able to identify him once hardship presents itself. No matter how deftly he conceals his strategies, you will always be able to expose him if you are able to identify the cause of your difficulties. Keep in mind that it is your responsibility to put up a fight, and it is my responsibility to drive him away. If you challenge the adversary, he will run away because that is his nature, and I have provided him with no other option. Both light and darkness were created by me, and yes, I was also the one who demolished the destroyer. However, you can rest assured that no weapon that is fashioned against you will be successful. Therefore, you should face every difficulty armed with my thoughts, my mind, and my unequivocal character. What are you going to do? If I were in your position, I would do exactly what you are going to do. Raise yourself up and seize the inheritance that is rightfully yours, the inheritance that I have bestowed upon you with my own hands. There is no such thing as a victim, and I have not predetermined that you will go through anything that I have already been through at Calvary. This day, the Father instructs you to sing out loud on your bed this day in hymns, new songs, and spiritual songs of worship, expectation, and triumph, because I dwell in the praises of a heart that is always directed toward me. You are a creature of worship, and you were made for the sake of connection with me. When I sit in my royal room, I do not want the smoke of animals that have been slain to fill the space. Beloved, I do in fact have plans for you in my kingdom, and I want you to be living sacrifices of lives that are lived out in pursuit of my purposes and plan for you. Because you, child of grace, have the ability to change the very fabric of reality with your songs of faith, let the cynical individuals choke on their cynicism and become blinded by the ordinary. Every single hymn, every single prayer that is drenched in tears, reverberates with the power to alter the narrative of your own circumstances. The exchanges and currencies of heaven are trust, hope, love, and a heart that is poured out in adoration before my throne. You have asked for change, and I tell you that these are the changes that you are looking for. Rather than taking pleasure in meaningless rituals, I take pleasure in the emptying of your soul and the unfiltered music of your surrender. To the extent that you raise my name above the mountains of your concerns, heaven replies, and my hand opens to fulfill each and every one of my promises in relation to what you are going through. The heavenly ledger is being written with my pen, and your name is being written in bold strokes of blessing and provision. Angels, those heavenly soldiers of light, are preparing themselves to defend your cause with their swords drawn against the rumors of uncertainty and the plots of the adversary. Do not allow yourself to be intimidated by your own seeming lack of strength or weakness, youngster. My affection toward you is not tempered or cooled by the fact that you are unworthy in the flesh, nor does it diminish the quantity of my mercy that I have poured out in respect to you. Your feelings of shame and dread should be washed away by the flood of gratitude that you are experiencing. Pay your devotional vows, which are not written on stone tablets but rather on the tablet of your heart, and watch as the adversary's schemes fall apart like sandcastles beneath the weight of my love. At this very now, at this very hour, during this very season, I am guiding you to the oasis of my grace, the gushing fountains of forgiveness, and the gushing waterfalls of enjoyment. As your Papa God, I call out to you, not with stern pronouncements, but with arms that are stretched out and a heart that is willing to receive. I have a strong desire to bathe you in the invigorating dew of my presence, to mend the frayed edges of your spirit, to heal you, and to bring you into the fullness of the predetermined purposes that I have planned for your situation. You should therefore go forth, my dear child, and let your worship to ascend like a cloud of fragrant incense, carried on the wings of wind that whispers, I am yours, and you are mine. Let your heart to be a stage for the magnificent operatic production of devotion, a tapestry woven with threads of thankfulness and trust. Always keep in mind that your worship is not only a sound, but rather a seismic shift in the spiritual landscape, a war cry that sends chills down the spine of darkness and ignites the embers of hope within your own soul. Now, go out into the world and sing. I will sing of my kindness that never runs out, of my might that never fades, and of my love that shines brighter than 1,000 suns. Let your voice be the soundtrack of my redemptive song, the clarion call that announces the dawn of a new era, an era where praise is the key that unlocks the door to an abundance of blessings, an era where worship is the weapon that shatters the chains of despair, an era where you, beloved child, are the conduit of my love, echoing my grace from the mountaintops of your heart to the farthest corners of the world. You should sing, for your Papa God is listening, and my heart is waiting for the savory aroma of your praise to fill it with sweetness. Encouragement is what the Father says to us today. Your heart is crying out for answers, and I am here to bring them to you. Take comfort in the fact that I am on goal and on target. My heart is filled with joy because you have searched after my glory, which is the bright effulgence of my being, and your yearning has filled it with anticipation. Also, child, you should be aware that my goodness comes before my glory. The exact basis upon which it rests, the taproot from which it blossoms, is the very foundation itself. However, before the blazing brightness of my glory can wash your life, I must first make sure that you are drenched in the soft rain of my goodness. You have already expressed your desire for a show of my glory. It is neither something that can be earned, nor is it something that is given out based on performance. Not at all, rather, it is the exact essence of my nature, which is gushing like an endless spring and is freely supplied to every soul that is thirsty and search for me. Please, child, put out of your mind any idea that you can achieve my honor by displaying your virtue or by proclaiming it to yourself. The secret to entering my celestial rooms is not hard work but rather surrendering to my will. My splendor does not exist in imposing cathedrals or alluring illusions. Rather, it is found in the secluded nooks and crannies of your own heart, which is the sanctuary where I am housed. You may remember Moses, who was a trustworthy prophet and leader. His heart was ablaze with the yearning to witness my glory, and he longed to do so. However, before I disclosed everything to him, I had my kindness appear before him in the form of a procession of love, fidelity, and mercy. The whole, unfiltered light of my being could not be borne by him until that time, when he had been prepared by the careful touch of my beneficence. So, I tell you right now, get ready for it. Because I am getting ready to reveal my goodness in your life, to fill it with grace and compassion, I am preparing to do so. The groundwork has been built, and the sacrifice that was made on Calvary has paved the way. This is not a promise that is far off, nor is it a glimmer of hope that is on the horizon. On the contrary, I am presenting it to you right now, much like a banquet that is being spread out in front of your very eyes. Attend, consume, and feel satisfied. This youngster is the introduction to the splendor that you are looking for. My goodness, which is a divine infusion of everything that is holy and true, is the rich soil in which my glory takes root. I can assure you that it will flourish in your life, not in some far-off future, but right here and right now on this very moment. Now is the day, the moment of transition, the turning point, and the moment of change. Joy to the world. You are going to watch the unfolding of my wonderful plan, therefore rejoice, because the curtain has been pushed back and you are about to see it. Both my kindness and my glory are available to you, and they are both in your possession. In order to enter the dazzling light that is waiting for you, you must first open your heart and accept my love. Children, you are not forgotten by anyone. Your Father holds you in His arms until the end of time, and you are cherished, adored, and accepted. Proceed at this moment, walk in the light of my kindness, and get yourself ready for the glory that is to come. Child, this is your inheritance. I encourage you to take it with delight and to allow it to direct your every step.